Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all having a great day, and with no further ado, let's get into the week 13, or no, week 14, right? Week 14 picks. It's, it's crazy how far we're into the season with just a month left in the year, but yeah. Um, but with no further ado, let's get into it, starting with obviously tonight's game, Cowboys at the Lions. Two teams very different. Um, Season since their bye week. Dallas has won three straight and looked like a completely different team on the defensive side as the offense continues to play well, while the Lions up and down, mostly down, being 2-3 off their bye. And I'm gonna go with the Cowboys. I think Detroit also banged up a lot, but it's just this Dallas team is rolling, and a Lions offense that clearly misses Ben Johnson a lot. Like John Moran early on in the season after the week one game, it felt like things were getting going, but then Dan Campbell switches over to the play caller, and that's been iffy at times. And I just think a Dallas team that is trending upwards and a Lions team that seems to be trending downwards. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, who seem to be moving up to get the win. So moving on to the Sunday 1 o'clock slate, Bears at the Packers. A huge matchup in this rivalry. I mean, winner is in sole position in first place. The Bears have won 9 of their last 10 since that 0-2 start. The team has been rolling. The defense, despite the injuries, although guys are coming back, have been playing amazing. And this offense, well, it hasn't been the most consistent, has been playing well for the most part. But I'm going to go with Green Bay at home. The last time the Bears went to Lambeau, they won, but that was a banged up Packers team at the end of the year that really didn't need to play their starters, even though if they had won and Washington lost, they would have gotten the sixth seed. But I think Green Bay's defense is playing amazing. And I think if Jordan Love plays like 50% or 60% of what he did last Thursday on Thanksgiving, I think this Packers team can be first place in this division. Yeah. Moving on to Washington at Minnesota. Battle of the bottom feeders. Still no indication on both teams' quarterbacks whether Jaden Daniels could play, whether Jaden McCarthy is out of concussion protocol. But I'm going to go with the team that has just looked more spirited over the past couple of weeks, and that's Washington. They played a really good Broncos defense and were able to put points on them. Not a lot of teams have been able to do that. I think against the Minnesota defense that is very good. I think Washington, you know, because Minnesota's offense has been so bad so far this year that I don't think they're going to do much against State Commander's defense that has looked better since Dan Quinn has taken over the past two games, even though they haven't played the greatest offenses. But I just trust Washington, who looks like they're still fighting, even though they most likely aren't going to make the playoffs. Like the Commanders look like they're going to continue. Like it looks like they're fighting in these games. Minnesota has looked lifeless the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to trust a Washington team that just has more fight in them to win this game. Moving on to an AFC East matchup, Miami at the Jets. Both teams playing pretty well the past couple of weeks. Miami's won three. They've won four of their last five since that 1-6 start. The Jets, they've won three of their last five. So both teams are coming in um, with pretty high highs. Both teams obviously aren't going to make the playoffs. Miami, I think maybe, still thinks they can because of the remaining schedule not being the hardest. But I'm going to go with the Jets at home. I think their first matchup, sorry about that, their first matchup against the Jets, you know, Justin Fields, just wasn't playing the great. I think with Tyrod Taylor and this Jets team starting to play a lot better. I think against a Dolphins team that is still not the greatest. Like they've been beating outside of the Bills game, they've been beating teams that are not very good. And I think the Jets get the win. I think they get their fourth in 6 weeks, and maybe they could end the year pretty good. And Aaron Glenn shows that hey, that slow start, kind of like Dan Campbell. You remember his first year didn't start off the greatest, but the team rallied at the end, and it clearly is shown. And I think Aaron Glenn, not saying he's the next Dan Campbell, but saying this Jets team has really responded over these last couple of weeks to give this team hope that heading into the future, maybe they can be a contender. Moving on to Seattle at Atlanta, a battle of the birds. One team is looking red hot, the other has been looking ice cold, and I'm going to take the red hot team in the Seahawks. This defense will make things uncomfortable for Kirk Cousins. I do think that Atlanta defense will give Sam Darnold, who has started to play not the greatest the past couple of weeks. So I do think that Atlanta defense will make things uncomfortable. But I just trust the better team, the better coach in Mike McDonald. And I think Seattle gets their 10th win. Depending on what happens later, could be in first place if the Rams were to get upset. Moving on to an AFC North battle. Steelers at Ravens. Winner is in sole position of first place. Neither team has looked very good at all this year. I mean, there have been some times where these teams have played well, but for the most part, neither team has looked anywhere close to either team's expectation. Honestly, I'm not really sure who's going to win this, but I'm going to go with the Ravens at home against the Steelers team that clearly, I mean, I know the locker room might still be together, but it's clear the fans have turned against the team, and I feel like the Ravens, who are the better team, maybe last week could be a wake-up call where they're like, oh, we need to start playing better. We need to start calling the game differently. And maybe this is a wake-up call and the Ravens go on a run to finish out the regular season. Moving on to an NFC South matchup, Saints at the Bucks. New Orleans, they've been playing decently. They've been competitive like for most of the year. Taking on a Bucks team that I remember the last time these two played, Spencer Rattler threw like a terrible interception, or it wasn't a bad interception, but like he threw it right to the guy. This is a Bucks team that needs to get this win with the Panthers hot on their tail, and I think they do. I think the Bucks all banged up all throughout. I think against a bad Saints team, Tampa's able to get these wins and at least keep their lead in the division. Moving on to an AFC South matchup. First place on the line between the Colts and the Jags. Third game. There's 3 games this week between divisional teams where the winner of that game is in sole position of first place. It's crazy that, but these games are going to be huge in determining who makes the playoffs and who doesn't. Jags, Colts have not beaten the Jags since 2014 in Duval, which is crazy to say with how bad some Jags teams have been. But the Jags have always seemed to win against the Colts in Duval, and the Jags are rolling right now. Ever since that Texans game, I know they played not the greatest against Arizona, but they have been playing really inspired and playing well. And this is a Colts team that has really started to fall apart over the last couple of weeks. Jonathan Taylor, when you stop him, you stop this offense. And this defense has been prone to giving up big plays. And I think a Jags team that is starting to get into rhythm, starting to play well, both offensively and defensively, against a Colts team that's banged up, that clearly is starting to lose a, a lot more than, than they had earlier in the season. I got the Jags staying in first place, and which is a crazy AFC South because a couple of weeks ago, most people would have said the Colts were a lot to win that division. Not anymore. Moving on, Titans at the Browns. Cleveland battle of the rookie quarterbacks, Cam Ward and Shador Sanders, who most believe were the top two QBs. So, but I'm gonna go with the Browns. They're just a better team right now. And honestly, if you're Tennessee, you want to lose these games. You want Cam Ward and this young nucleus on offense and some of the defenders. You want them to play well, but you want to lose these games against a great Browns defense. I don't see any way Cam Ward and this offense can do anything. I think the Browns' offense can do just enough to get the win. Moving on to the Broncos at the Raiders, the 4 o'clock slate. Denver, I mean, they're at 10 wins, trying to match New England for 10 consecutive wins. Taking on a Raiders team that just doesn't look good. And I'm taking the Broncos to win. I mean, I don't trust this offense um, when they'll play like an elite team in the playoffs, but against a bad Raiders team, I mean, we saw these two teams play on Thursday night a couple weeks ago, and it wasn't a very good game, and I don't expect this one to be that much better. Moving on to an AFC West battle, Rams at the Cardinals, LA trying to rebound after a tough loss to a decent Panthers team, taking on a Cardinals team that just finds ways to lose games. Like, it seems like all of their losses, well, most of their losses, because they haven't had some blown out losses to like Seattle and San Fran, but like most of their losses, Arizona's played well enough to win those games, but they just find ways to lose. And against the Rams team that is, trying to keep pace with Seattle, trying to get back to that top number one seed, I got the Rams to win. Moving on, Bengals, not Bills, Bengals at Bills. Buffalo trying to keep pace with a Pats team, which has been red hot. They try to win this game and then possibly win next week's game against New England to cut it to a one game lead for New England, taking on a Bengals team that seems to be regenerized. I mean, the offense has looked really good. The defense has started to make plays the past couple of weeks, despite no Trey Henderson. But I'm taking the Bills, the better team at home. Um, and I'm sorry, Cincinnati. This loss more than likely eliminates you from playoff contention, but just have to see. Moving on to Sunday Night Football, Texans at the Chiefs. A red hot Texans team that has won 7-9. The defense is playing the best football, probably of any defense. And the offense has been doing just enough to win these games, taking on a Chiefs team that is battered, bruised, trying to keep their slim playoff hopes alive, but I don't think it happens. I think this defense makes Mahomes uncomfortable. And this defense has been prone to give up big plays. This defense has not been as great as years before it was. And I think CJ Stroud in this offense, which has started to click the last couple of weeks, I think they continue to surge forward. And they get a huge win, which I think if these picks are correct, would put Houston in second place and in a playoff spot, which is crazy to say. And finally, Monday Night Football, Eagles at the Chargers. Philly, it's been bad offense and decent defense since the bye. Taking on a Chargers team that banged up everywhere. Kind of like the Niners. They've just been able to find ways to win. No status on whether Justin Herbert will play or won't play, but I'm picking LA. I trust this Chargers team more than I trust the Eagles. I think this Chargers defense will be able to stop Philly's offense, and if Herbert is like if Herbert plays, and even if he doesn't, I feel like this LA offense could still be able to make plays because we've seen this Philly defense be prone the past couple of weeks to giving up a lot of plays and a lot of points, and I think that can continue. But yeah, those are my picks for week 14. I hope you guys have a great video. Hope you guys hit the like button. Hope you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. But until then, see y'all and bye.